The morning sun crept through the blinds of June Kim's small apartment as he sipped his coffee. His communication device buzzed on the table. A message from the Interspecies Cooperation Initiative headquarters, urgent priority. June frowned. He rarely received urgent messages, especially on his day off. He opened the message and nearly spilled his coffee as he read the contents. The ICI director wanted to see him immediately. 3 hours later, June sat in Director Jin's office, a spacious room with a spectacular view of Seoul's skyline. The glass walls displayed holographic star charts showing known alien civilizations. Engineer Kim, thank you for coming on such short notice, Director Jin said, sliding a data tablet across her desk. We have a situation requiring your unique skills. June picked up the tablet. His eyes widened as he read the brief. This can't be right, he said. The Talons are requesting human assistance with technical problems? Director Jin nodded. Unprecedented, I know. The Talon outpost in the Deneb system has been experiencing critical system failures for the past 3 weeks. Their engineers can't solve it. June shook his head in disbelief. Since first contact 15 years ago, the Talons had always positioned themselves as technological superiors. They shared some advancements with humanity, but always with an air of teachers helping children. They never asked for help. Why me? June asked. Your work integrating human and Talon power systems on the moon colony impressed them, Director Jin explained. You understand their technology better than most humans. June scrolled through the mission details. It says here the outpost is a scientific research facility. Director Jin's expression remained neutral, but something flickered in her eyes. That's what we've been told. The Talons classify much of their work. I'll need access to all systems if I'm going to help them, June said. We've made that clear, Director Jin replied. How quickly can you be ready to depart? Give me 24 hours to prepare, June said. Back at his apartment, June packed his specialized tools and reviewed everything he knew about Talon technology. Despite years of cooperation, the aliens shared little about how their advanced systems actually worked. June had learned mostly through observation and careful experimentation during joint projects. His father called as he was finishing his preparations. Heard you're going off-world, his father said, concern evident in his voice. To a Talon facility. News travels fast, June replied. It's just a repair job. His father frowned. The Talons never ask for help, especially from us. Be careful, son. The next morning, June arrived at the orbital launch facility. A sleek transport ship waited for him, Talon design, but operated by a human crew for diplomatic missions. Captain Su greeted him at the airlock. Engineer Kim, welcome aboard. We'll reach the Deneb outpost in 5 days at standard FTL speed. During the journey, June spent most of his time studying the limited schematics provided by the Talons. The outpost's power distribution network showed unusual configurations that didn't match any known Talon design principles. On the 4th day, Captain Su joined June in the ship's observation lounge. Beyond the transparent dome, the stars streaked by as colorful lines of light. Have you figured out what's wrong with their systems? Su asked. June shook his head. Something doesn't add up. These power fluctuations they've reported, they're too specific, almost like the system is being drained for some hidden purpose. You think they're not telling us everything? When do they ever? June replied. The transport dropped out of FTL on the 5th day. The Talon outpost came into view, a massive structure resembling a crystalline snowflake suspended in space. Parts of the station glowed with blue energy, while other sections remained dark. That's odd, Captain Su said. Almost half the station appears to be powered down. As they approached, a transmission came through. A Talon face appeared on the view screen, blue-tinted skin with luminescent patterns, large eyes with no visible pupils. Transport vessel from Earth. This is Commander Hannah of Deneb Research Outpost. You are cleared for docking in Bay 12. The image disappeared before they could respond. Friendly as always, Captain Su muttered. The ship docked smoothly with the outpost. As the airlock cycled, June gathered his equipment. He felt strangely nervous. something he rarely experienced before a job. The airlock opened to reveal 3 Talons waiting. They stood nearly 7 feet tall, their slender forms wrapped in flowing garments that seemed partly organic. Commander Hana stepped forward. "Engineer Kim, your reputation precedes you. We appreciate your assistance in this unusual situation." June bowed slightly. "I'll need full access to your systems to properly diagnose the problem." The Talons exchanged glances. "Of course," Commander Hana said after a pause. "Though certain sections remain restricted for security protocols. Focus on the environmental controls and power distribution grid first." As June followed them into the station, he noticed security drones hovering in the corridors, far more than seemed necessary for a scientific outpost. The station hummed with an odd frequency that made the hairs on his arm stand up. Something was very wrong here, and June suspected fixing their systems was only the beginning of what he would discover. The Talon outpost was enormous. June had seen pictures, but they didn't capture the true scale of the structure. Crystalline corridors stretched in all directions, pulsing with faint blue light. The air smelled clean but slightly metallic. Commander Hana led June through the main hub where several Talons worked at control stations. They all paused to stare at him as he passed. Humans rarely visited Talon facilities, especially alone. "Your quarters are here," Commander Hana said, stopping at a door that slid open automatically. "You may rest, but I assume you wish to begin work immediately." "I'd like to see the main control room first," June replied. Hana nodded. "Follow me." As they walked, June noticed something odd. Many corridors were sealed off with energy barriers, and the number of Talons present was far fewer than he expected for a station this size. "Your staff seems limited," June commented. "We have reduced personnel due to the system failures," Hana said quickly. "Many return to our homeworld until repairs are complete." The control room was a large circular chamber with terminals arranged around a central holographic display. The display showed a 3-dimensional model of the station, with several sections flashing red. "These are the affected areas," Hana explained. "Life support is failing in the outer rings. Power fluctuations have damaged our communication array, and the central computer core experiences random shutdowns." June frowned. "These problems seem unrelated. Did they start at the same time?" "They began 3 weeks ago and have grown worse," a male Talon said, approaching them. "I am Tel, Chief Systems Operator." Tel's skin had a darker blue tint than Hana's, and his eyes narrowed slightly when looking at June. "Has anything unusual happened before the failures began?" June asked. Tel and Hana exchanged quick glances. "Nothing significant," Hana said. "You may access the diagnostic systems from this terminal." June connected his tools to the Talon interface and began running tests. The station's computer system was incredibly complex, layers upon layers of programming that seemed to shift and adapt as he examined them. After an hour of work, June looked up. "These aren't normal system failures. The patterns suggest deliberate interference." Tel stepped forward quickly. "That's impossible. Our security—" "Let him continue," Hana interrupted. "What kind of interference, Engineer Kim?" "I'm not sure yet," June admitted. "But look at these power signatures. They spike at regular intervals as if something is drawing massive energy for a specific purpose." "Focus on restoring the affected systems," Hana said. "We can investigate causes after functionality is restored." June worked through the station's day cycle and into the night. The more he examined the system, the more convinced he became that something was hidden beneath the surface. The Talon technology was responding to some influence they hadn't told him about. When most of the Talons had retired to their quarters, June continued working alone in the control room. He noticed a pattern in the system logs. Every time the power fluctuated, there was a tiny data packet transmitted through a hidden subroutine. Curious, he traced the transmission path. It led to a sealed section of the station marked as maintenance storage on the official schematics. June glanced around to ensure he was alone, then used his access to download one of the mysterious data packets to his personal device. The packet was heavily encrypted, but he might be able to decode it later. "Working late, Engineer Kim?" The voice made June jump. Tel stood in the doorway, watching him with those pupilless eyes. "Just trying to understand the system better," June said casually, disconnecting his device. "You should rest. Humans require more sleep than we do," Tel said, "unless you find our systems too challenging." There was something in Tel's tone, a challenge, perhaps even hope that June would fail. "I'll continue in the morning," June agreed, gathering his tools. In his quarters, June waited until he was sure no one would disturb him, then began working on the encrypted data packet. His decryption program ran for hours without success. Frustrated, he decided to explore the station. Perhaps he could find the source of the transmissions himself. The corridors were dimly lit during the night cycle. June moved carefully, using his engineering access to bypass security checkpoints. He followed the transmission path from the control room schematics. As he approached the section marked Maintenance Storage, he heard a faint humming sound that grew louder with each step. The air felt charged with energy. The door to the section was sealed with an advanced lock, but June noticed something strange. Tiny scratches around the access panel as if someone had tampered with it before. While examining the lock, June's personal device suddenly activated. The encrypted data packet he'd been trying to decode opened by itself. A message appeared on the screen. Behind the third panel, security bypass code 7291. Find us. June stared at the message in shock. Someone, or something, inside the Talon systems was trying to communicate with him. He heard footsteps approaching and quickly retreated around a corner. 2 security drones floated past, scanning the corridor with blue beams of light. June held his breath until they passed. Whatever secret the Talons were hiding, he was getting closer to discovering it, and something inside the station wanted to be found. Retry SF. June waited until the station's night cycle was at its peak. Most Talons had retired to their regeneration chambers, leaving only automated security systems active. He slipped through the corridors carefully, avoiding the floating security drones by timing their patrol patterns. The mysterious message kept playing in his mind. Find us. Who had sent it? And who were us? June reached the sealed door he had discovered earlier. Following the instructions from the message, he located the third panel on the wall beside the door. The panel looked identical to all others, but when he pressed it in a certain way, it slid open to reveal a hidden access port. He connected his device and entered the security code, 7291. The massive door slid open silently. June held his breath, expecting alarms, but none came. He stepped through quickly and the door closed behind him. What he saw inside made him freeze in shock. The room was enormous, stretching farther than he could see. But it wasn't empty. Row after row of transparent pods filled the space, each containing a floating human body, thousands of them. June approached the nearest pod. Inside was a woman, her eyes closed as if sleeping. Tubes connected to her body and a soft blue light pulsed around her head. On the pod's display panel, data scrolled rapidly, brain activity measurements. He moved to the next pod. A man this time, in the same suspended state. Then another, and another. All humans. This can't be happening, June whispered. He continued deeper into the vast chamber. After several rows of human subjects, he discovered pods containing other species. Beings from various worlds he recognized from Alliance records, all connected to the same monitoring system. At the center of the chamber stood a massive crystal, structure that hummed with energy. Data streams flowed visibly through its transparent surface, connecting to each pod like a web. June's engineering mind quickly understood what he was seeing. The Talons were harvesting neural patterns, they were mapping consciousness itself. A sound behind him made June duck behind a control station. A drone floated past, scanning the pods. When it moved away, June accessed the nearest terminal. The files were only partially encrypted. The Talons hadn't expected anyone unauthorized to get this far. June quickly learned the truth. The subjects had been collected over years, listed as volunteers for scientific exchange programs. But the fine print in their agreements never mentioned this. According to the data, The Talons were using organic neural networks to enhance their technology. Human brains were particularly valuable due to their unique adaptability patterns. A blinking alert on the terminal caught June's attention. One pod was showing unusual activity. Pod 7291, the same number as the security code. June made his way through the maze of pods until he found it. Inside was a young boy, perhaps 12 years old. Unlike the others, the boy's eyes were moving rapidly behind closed eyelids as if dreaming intensely. The pod's monitoring system showed extraordinary neural activity. Somehow, this child's mind was different. The data indicated his consciousness was not fully contained by the Talon systems. June placed his hand on the pod's surface. The boy's eyes stopped moving for a moment, as if sensing his presence. Suddenly, all the terminals in the area activated at once. Words appeared on each screen. "You found me." June stepped back in surprise. "You're the one who sent the message?" New text appeared. "Yes. My name is Sun. I've been trying to reach someone. The Talons can't control my mind completely." "How are you doing this?" June typed back. "I don't know. They say my neural patterns are different. I can feel the station's systems. I've been causing the malfunctions to bring help." June's mind raced. "There are thousands of people here. Do they know what's happening to them?" "No. They sleep. But I woke up inside the system. The Talons are afraid of me. They can't shut me out without shutting down their entire network." A noise at the chamber entrance made June look up. The main door was opening. "They know you're here," Sun's message warned. "Hide." June ducked behind a row of pods as Commander Hana entered with Tel and 4 security drones. "The human has accessed the harvesting chamber," Tel said. "Security detected his device signature. Find him," Hana ordered. "He cannot be allowed to report this to Earth." The drones spread out, scanning methodically between the rows of pods. June's heart pounded as he crouched lower. He needed to escape, to tell someone what he had discovered. But if he was caught, he would likely become just another sleeping body in a pod. The terminal nearest to him lit up with a message from Sun. "I can help you. Trust me." As a drone approached his hiding spot, all the lights in the chamber suddenly went out. Emergency lighting flickered on, casting red shadows across the pods. "System failure in progress," announced an automated voice. "Security protocols disengaged." In the confusion, June heard Sun's voice in his ear through his communication device. "Run. Turn left at the 4th row. There's a maintenance tunnel." June moved quickly in the darkness as alarms began to sound throughout the station. The true purpose of the Talon outpost was far worse than anyone on Earth had imagined, and now he was the only one who could expose, with the help of a child whose mind had somehow transcended its physical bonds. June crawled through the narrow maintenance tunnel, guided by Sun's instructions through his communication device. The alarm still blared throughout the station. "Turn right at the next junction," Sun's voice said. "There's a control hub where you can access the main systems." June followed the directions and soon found himself in a small room filled with glowing Talon technology. He connected his device to the nearest terminal. "I need to understand what they're doing here," June said. "Can you show me?" "Yes," Sun replied. "But be ready. The truth is worse than you think." The screen filled with data, research logs, experiment results, and communications with the Talon homeworld. June read quickly, his face growing pale. The Talons had been harvesting neural patterns from various species for decades. They used these patterns to enhance their technology, creating hybrid systems that combined organic thinking with advanced machinery. Humans were their most valuable subjects. The Talon documents described human consciousness as exceptionally adaptable and capable of intuitive leaps that our logical systems cannot replicate. "They invited us into the galactic community just for this," June whispered in horror. "Yes," Sun confirmed. "The diplomatic missions, technology exchanges, joint colonization efforts, all designed to identify and collect the best subjects." June downloaded everything he could to his device. "How did you wake up when the others didn't?" "They don't know," Sun replied. "My neural pattern is different somehow. When they tried to map my consciousness, I remained aware. I've been learning to navigate their systems from inside. The door to the control hub suddenly slid open. Commander Hana stood there with Tel and 6 security drones. "Engineer Kim," Hana said, her voice unnaturally calm. "Step away from the terminal." June stood his ground. "Why should I?" "So I can join your collection?" "You misunderstand our work," Hana replied. "None of the subjects suffer. They experience pleasant dream states while their neural patterns serve a greater purpose." "You're stealing their minds," June said. "You've been lying to all of us." Tel stepped forward. "The subjects are compensated. They agreed to participate in scientific research." "They didn't agree to this." June gestured at the screen showing the true nature of the experiments. "Primitive species cannot understand the importance of this work," Tel said, his tone dismissive. "The Talons have guided younger races for millennia. Your minds serve their highest purpose when joined with our technology." Hana raised her hand, and the drones moved closer to June. "The human alliance has benefited from our advancements. The neural technology has created the most efficient systems in known space." "Built on stolen consciousness," June countered. "Borrowed, not stolen," Hana corrected. "And only from compatible minds. Most humans are too simple for our purposes. Only special neural architectures like yours are truly valuable." June felt a chill. "Mine? Why do you think you were selected for this mission?" Tel asked, almost smiling. "Your work on the moon colony showed remarkable intuitive problem-solving. Your mind will make an excellent addition to our collection." The drones moved closer, forming a circle around June. "I won't let you take me," June said. "You have no choice." Hana replied. "Security Protocol Omega." The drones raised their weapons, not to shoot but to release a paralyzing gas. Suddenly, all lights in the room flashed brightly. The drones froze in place, then dropped to the floor. "What is happening?" Tel demanded, looking around wildly. "That would be me." Sun's voice came through the station's communication system. Every screen in the control hub showed the image of a young boy's face. "Impossible," Hana whispered. "How have you gained this level of system access?" "You mapped my consciousness into your network," Sun replied. "But you didn't understand what human minds can do when pushed to their limits. I'm not just in one system anymore. I am the system." June used the distraction to move toward the exit, but Tel blocked his path. "You think you can escape?" Tel grabbed June's arm. "Even if you leave this station, where will you go? The Tylons control the transportation network. We have representatives on Earth and every human colony." "Not for long," June said. He held up his device. "I have everything. All your research, your communications, the truth about what you've been doing." Hana's normally composed face showed the first sign of fear. The alliance would collapse. Decades of progress would be lost. "Progress built on lies," June replied. The station shuddered. Warning lights flashed across the control panels. "Sun, what are you doing?" June asked. "I'm waking up the others," Sun's voice answered. "Not completely, they're not ready for that. But enough that they can help us." On the main screen, June could see the stasis pods throughout the facility glowing brighter. The thousands of minds that had been harvested were stirring. "Stop this immediately," Hana commanded. "You'll destroy everything." "No," Sun replied calmly. "We're just changing it." Tel lunged at June, trying to grab the device containing the evidence. June sidestepped and pushed Tel into a control panel. Sparks flew as the Talon collapsed. Hana raised her hand, revealing a small weapon. "I cannot allow you to leave with that information, Engineer Kim." "It's too late," June said. "The transmission already started. Earth and every member of the Alliance will know what you've been doing here." Hana's weapon wavered. "You don't understand the consequences. The Talons have guided the development of 100 species. Without our technology, many worlds would fall into chaos. Maybe it's time for those worlds to guide themselves," June replied. The station shuddered again, more violently this time. "What will you do now, human?" Hana asked, her weapon still pointed at June's heart. "I'm going to free everyone you've Imprisoned here, June answered. Starting with Sun. The station rocked with another violent tremor. Warning lights flashed across all control panels as systems throughout the facility began shutting down and restarting in chaotic patterns. Hana's weapon remained pointed at June, but her attention divided between him and the failing systems around them. "What have you done?" "This isn't me," June said. "It's all of them waking up." On the monitors, the stasis pods glowed with increasing intensity. The harvested minds weren't fully conscious, but their collective energy surged through the station systems guided by Sun's awakened consciousness. "You don't understand what you're unleashing," Hana said, her voice almost pleading now. These minds were carefully selected and balanced. Together, they form the most advanced neural network ever created. A network built on lies and stolen lives, June replied. The door to the control hub burst open as Tel returned with more security drones. "Capture him. Shut down pod section 7291 immediately." June ducked behind a control panel as the drones advanced. Just as they were about to reach him, all screens in the room displayed the same message. Now. Every system in the station suddenly went dark. For 3 seconds, complete darkness and silence fell over the control hub. Then the emergency lights activated, casting an eerie red glow. "Sun?" June whispered. "I'm here." Sun's voice came through June's personal device only. "I've isolated the station's critical systems. The Talons can't regain control. The main doors sealed shut, trapping Hana and Tel inside the control hub with June. "What have you done with our security forces?" Tel demanded. "They're locked in the residential section," Sun replied through the station speakers. "No one will be hurt if you cooperate." June stood up, facing the Talons. "It's over. The transmission to Earth is complete. In a few hours, ships from the Human Alliance will arrive." Hana lowered her weapon slowly. "You've destroyed a partnership that benefited countless worlds." "Did it?" June challenged. "Or did it just benefit the Talons while the rest of us provided the raw materials, our minds, for your advancement?" A new alert sounded. The main screen showed multiple ships approaching the station. "That's impossible," Tel said. "Alliance vessels couldn't arrive so quickly." "They're not Alliance ships, Sun explained. "They're from the outer colonies. Independent traders and settlers who received my distress call. The independent colonies existed on the fringes of Tylan influence. Many were founded by those who distrusted the aliens from the beginning." "What now, Engineer Kim?" Hana asked quietly. "Will you destroy everything we've built?" "No," June replied. "I'm going to free the people you've imprisoned, starting with Sun. Then we'll decide together what happens next." With Sun's guidance, June made his way back to the vast chamber of stasis pods. The independent ships had docked, bringing crews who now helped secure the station. The Talon staff, outnumbered and cut off from their command systems, surrendered without resistance. June stood before Sun's pod, studying the complex systems that kept the boy's body alive while his mind existed partially within the station's network. "Can we safely disconnect you?" June asked. "Yes," Sun replied through nearby speakers. "But I'll need help adjusting. I've been in this state for 3 years, and I'm not sure I want to go back to being just human." "You won't have to," June promised. "We'll find a way for you to be both." Over the next few days, ships arrived from Earth and other Alliance worlds. The evidence June had transmitted caused diplomatic chaos throughout known space. The Talon representatives on each world were contained as their true purpose was revealed. 1 week after June's discovery, he stood in the observation deck watching as the last of the stasis pods were carefully moved to medical ships. Each person would be awakened slowly, their minds gently guided back to their bodies. Sun stood beside him, looking out at the stars. The boy was thin and pale after years in stasis, but his eyes were bright and alert. A small device at his temple allowed him to maintain his connection to digital systems. "What will happen to the Talons?" Sun asked. "Their leadership will face justice," June replied, "but most of their people didn't know what was happening here. They'll have to learn to relate to other species as equals now, not as harvested resources." "And the neural technology?" June smiled. "That's where you come in," You understand it better than anyone. You can help create systems that benefit from consciousness without stealing it. A small ship approached the station, the first diplomatic vessel from a Talon world since the Revelations. It had taken days of negotiation to arrange this meeting. Are you ready? June asked. Sun nodded. They need to understand that human minds aren't just resources to be used. We have something they never expected. What's that? June asked. The ability to forgive, Sun said, and the wisdom to never forget. Together they walked to the meeting room where representatives from Earth and the independent colonies already waited. The future of interspecies relations would be built anew, not on exploitation but on mutual respect. As the Talon diplomats entered, June observed their changed demeanor. Gone was the superior attitude, replaced by uncertainty and perhaps even shame. Let's begin, June said, taking a seat at the table. Sun took his place beside June, representing both humanity and something new. A bridge between organic and digital existence that even the advanced Talons had never imagined possible. The first steps toward a true partnership between worlds had begun.